I'm Dr. Natasha Nelson, and welcome to Untamed and Prosperous. So today's episode is number 2 out of the 6-part series about functional nutrition. And it's really designed to help you create a foundation around nutrition and all aspects of your health that will just, help give you some guidance and understanding about this area of nutrition that can feel so complicated. So, of course, my disclaimer, I'm not your doctor, and anything that I say, make sure you talk to your physician and consult your physician to whatever is best for you. Right? All right, so in part 1, I discussed the food groups, and you can go back and see that video because I'm not going to repeat myself here. So today I want to go through and start from where we left off and go on from there. My question to you: have you ever thought about what makes food ripen and then rot? You buy fruit, you buy a banana, and they're green and they're sitting on your counter, and then all of a sudden they turn yellow, and then all of a sudden they're spotted yellow, brown, and then they're mushy brown, and you're like, wahoo, I'm making banana bread, right? But all food goes through that process of becoming ripe and then rot. What is it that does that? Well, those are enzymes that are inherent in food. And it seems like, it's like this chemical process. It happens in nature. What's the big deal? Well, we need enzymes. Because remember from part 1, when I talked about the 3 food groups, I said protein breaks down into amino acids, carbohydrates into, glucose, and fats breaks into lipids. Well, in order for your body to break down the food that you eat into the smallest particle for your body to actually absorb it and use it, it's the enzymes that's responsible for breaking a steak into amino acids. It's the enzymes when you eat and you chew combined with minerals that break down the food along with acid in your stomach so that when you eat a meal, your body can do something with it, right? So why is that important to understand? Well, you can appreciate going, okay, the body, needs enzymes and it does this, which is great. But I want you to think about from the term, from really a different perspective. How do you give food a longer shelf life? So think about that question. How does food have a longer shelf life? Well, if you chemically alter the enzymes in the food, then it will slow down or stop the process of food going through the process of becoming ripe and then rot. So introducing chemicals that stop the enzymes stops food gives food a shelf life. Well, what that means is if you are eating food that has a longer shelf life, then that food is missing a lot of the enzymes in it, so your body can't break it down as easily or completely. So this is where, think about when you are in the grocery store, and most stores are generally organized the same way. You walk in, there's produce, then you move into like the meat section and dairy. All those things are on like the outside, and the inside is everything that's frozen and packaged. Now, this is not about what's right or wrong or is it healthy or not. I'm just giving you the general layout. Food on the inside, the middle of the store, has a longer shelf life than what's on the outside, the perishables. Even the perishables, though, you'll notice some perish faster. And this is why you start to go, is it worth buying the organic fruits and vegetables? It's one of the reasons why, right? There are less chemicals to give it a longer shelf life in organic produce, and actually meats and dairy as well. But I want to talk about going back here with my diagram and what happens to food and what happens to food when it's not broken down properly and how it affects the body. So think about when you eat food and it's your stomach, and then you have your intestines and your colon. Well, you actually have 20 feet of tube. So if you think about the whole colon and the intestines, 20 feet if you were to stretch it all out. And that's the time in which, as food breaks down, your body and your intestines, the food goes through and the intestines absorb the smallest particle of nutrition and brings it into the circulatory system, and it goes to every single tissue, every organ, every cell in your body is able to be nourished. So this is the cross section. So if you take your intestines and you were to cut it and look like you were looking at the inside of a pipe, right? This is what it would look like in your intestines, the small intestines. The blue things, they're called villi. And really what that means is they're like finger-like projections, So when you are eating food and food goes into your intestines, think about all these little nourishing particles, right? Amino acids, glucose, lipids, all go in here. They get absorbed, and now they're in the bloodstream, traveling to all the parts in your body, okay? You don't have to believe me. You can just take this out of any reputable, biology, anatomy, physiology book. That's there. So this is not me making it up. Just go ahead and look it up. That's how the body works. So when you're looking at what the body is supposed to do, you always have to start with, well, what does it do naturally in order to understand when something doesn't work properly? So back to when you eat food that doesn't really have any nourishment in it, food that has been chemically altered, so it has no enzymes in it and it has a longer shelf life, well, these are just big chunks of food in your intestines. Well, if they don't flow very well, they just become very sticky and literally sticking in the inside of your intestines, small and large. They get stuck, it just sticks in here. I want you to think about drywall, right? Like drywall, when you're smoothing over the walls and it's just that pasty, that is what gets stuck in your intestines. And right about now, you should be kind of squishing your nose like, ew, that's gross. It is gross, because really what that is poop. And if you want to be clear, it's poop plaque. So the poop plaque builds up in the intestines, and that will lead to a whole host of issues. One of the first issues is realizing with poop plaque, food is getting stuck. So the stomach, the intestines can feel bloated, distended, really hard. If you're constipated, this is one of the things that's happening, is it's building up. This will lead to other things, but one of the first things it does is it prevents the body from actually absorbing all of the micro and the nutrients that go through. Poop plaque gets in the way and starts to slow down the body's ability to absorb nutrients properly. So then you could actually be eating good quality and healthy food, but if your body can't absorb it, you're actually malnourished, okay? So I know that there was a lot in this today, and we're gonna talk about more from here in part 3. So today was really about understanding the food groups, enzymes, why we need enzymes in food, their purpose, and how it relates to our intestines and our body's ability to absorb nutrition. So I hope that this was helpful. And of course, I appreciate comments and shares and likes and all that kind of good stuff to help me with the algorithms. It's much appreciated. So I hope that this was helpful, and we will continue in part 3 with what to do with all this, okay? Until then, I'm Dr. Natasha Nelson, and live life untamed.